Hello and welcome to the Fourth Pillar. Today, our guest for Fourth Pillar is Nick Lowe. Nick Lowe is the British Deputy High Commissioner in Kolkata. Welcome to our studio, Mr. Lowe.
Thank you for inviting me, Onabin. Pleasure to be here.
So, you have worked in China for about 4 years. You have worked in Bangladesh. You joined Kolkata in the month of October last year. You cover 13 states and 1 union territory, that is Andamans. You cover 8 states of Northeast, where we are interested and where we are placed. So, Bangladesh and China are our nearest neighbors. One is just at the north of Northeast and Bangladesh is towards the south end of Northeast. So, we believe since you have worked in Bangladesh and China, so you'll have fair understanding of our region as well. So tell us what brings you to Guwahati today. Is it your first visit to Guwahati?
It's my first visit to Guwahati. It's my first visit to Assam. I very much believe that the legitimacy of diplomacy is to make it relevant to ordinary people outside big cities. An Indian diplomat based in London should never think that London is the United Kingdom, because it's not. And in the same way, my colleagues in Delhi should never think, and I'm sure they don't, that New Delhi is India. You don't need to go outside the city. And that's very much my attitude in Kolkata. I've already acquired a huge affection for my adopted city. That's not what I'm here to do. I must go to and understand broader West Bengal, the Seven Sisters of the Northeast, and the states of Eastern India that I'm responsible for. It's a huge opportunity for us in the United Kingdom, and huge opportunity for people such as yourself and your colleagues in the studio with us today in broadening and deepening the relationship we have for our mutual benefit and advantage.
Today in the evening, I believe you have a Chevening conversation on impact of climate change in the tea industry.
Yeah.
So climate change is quite a big global issue now. So why did you select particularly the tea industry of Assam?
Well, quite a big global issue. That's delicious understatement on Onabin. Prince William has described the Earth as being at tipping point, where we can either take action on a global scale to address the challenges we face, or frankly face a very real prospect of doing irreparable damage to this small blue dot, the only planet that we have. So it's a major, major global issue, and the United Kingdom, which is, I think much to its credit, been one of the trailblazers in addressing this problem, really this year has the opportunity to galvanize a global community into taking action, because we're hosting, and it's not a particularly user-friendly phrase, but I'll give it to you, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Conference of Parties 26. Let's call it the Climate Change Summit in Glasgow in November. We will be working tremendously hard with partners all around the world to ensure that that delivers, not only for people like you and I, but for our children and our children's children. It really is that important. And I think this is an example, and I know you've asked about tonight's Chevening event, but to put this in context, when I was a kid at school, I probably wouldn't have known what an existential threat was. If someone had explained it to me, I'd have said, well, that's the Cold War, that's the Soviet Union, sometimes I worry about nuclear weapons and nuclear war. How the world has changed. For my children, existential threats are now climate change, it's antimicrobial resistance, it's the insidious, silent, invisible presence of microplastics in water just about everywhere. It's eradicating poverty, as we're all committed to do under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, because we now know there is this link between poverty, irregular migration, conflict, extremism. That's why we're majoring on climate change this year, because frankly we need to. When we talk with our Chevening scholars, we are talking to some of the best and brightest minds out there. So we didn't impose climate change in the tea industry on them. This came from them, as well it should, because they know Assam better than I ever will. I think it'll be an interesting conversation in its own right and will enable us to discuss what more we can do, both in this city, in Assam more broadly, across the Northeast, and how we galvanise ordinary people in my country and in India to take action.
Yeah, we understand tea industry in Assam particularly is very important for a lot of people in the UK, because 175 years ago, Assam Company, which came into existence in Upper Assam, was established by some British planters, and the legacy still continues.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm sure your viewers and listeners know this, but it's become absolutely embedded in British culture. We drink tea from India. I have every day since I was a little boy. In the same way as we eat what people in my country would call Indian food from when we're very young. Now, whether or not you would recognise that as being Indian food is a different matter. But it's very important example of
I can understand how important English breakfast tea is for everyone in the UK. So tell us, how big is Assam tea, in terms of market share in the UK? Because you have Kenyans, you have Sri Lankans, and you have tea from China as well. So do people in the UK still love Assam tea, or they prefer Sri Lankan or the Kenyan tea now?
Well, it's a very interesting question, because the majority of tea that's drunk is not packaged and marketed as being from a specific place. So that's quite a difficult question to answer. What I can say is, though, that Associated British Foods, which is our largest food and beverage, our largest food company in the United Kingdom, has just put someone into Kolkata with specific responsibility for looking after the relationship with Indian tea growers in the north of West Bengal and in Assam. So I think it's very positive and shows that link is still very, very much alive. And let's face it, India produces some of the best teas in the world.
Yes. So in addition to tea, tea conversation and climate change impact on tea, what else do you plan to do in Guwahati during this visit?
Okay, well, I also want to use tonight's meeting with the Chevening Scholars to give a little bit of publicity to our Chevening Scholarship Scheme. I'm sure, as you know, Oliver, this is the United Kingdom's flagship scheme, and every year, and I'm marketing this to your viewers now, every year we take 65 young Indian postgraduate students to do 1 year master's degrees in the United Kingdom. They are fully funded, and we don't link them to specific universities or specific courses. It's an absolutely marvellous opportunity. There's a stack of information online about them. So Chevening is Chevening, or you could look up British Government Scholarships on your search engine. You find all the details. Applications open in August. We also do shorter Chevening fellowships. To go back to your main question, this is a pathfinder visit for me. I've not been to Assam before, and I'm always very chary about reading the news for 2 or 3 months, visiting Wikipedia, much though we all like Wikipedia, and thinking, that's it, I know it, because you never do. You do need to go there, see for yourself, meet the people, hear what's on their mind, look at the matters that are of concern to them, and see where we can work with them. That is really what diplomacy is about. I'm a huge fan of people-to-people diplomacy. I think it's incredibly important. And travelling in the regions and talking to people in the regions really gives me a handle on what we can do. So rest assured, this will not be my only visit to Assam. I hope to be back many, many times in the future. And the good news is, of course, we do have a member of staff from our British Deputy High Commission permanently based here in Guwahati, who we rely on to set up programs like the one I'm doing now.
British Deputy High Commission has a centre in Guwahati, the British Information Centre. So what does the Information Centre do exactly? for the people of Northeast and specifically for Assam or Guwahati?
You know, in my heart, I would now love to put my colleague Ranjani in front of the cameras to explain the great work that she does, and I fear doesn't get nearly enough credit for. It is what it says on the can. It is an information centre, and members of the public looking for more information about the United Kingdom, whatever it might be, I'd very much commend that as a first-stop shop to, come in, see if we can help. If we can't, Ranjani can always seek further information elsewhere. But that's what it is. Almost look upon it as a mini library, only without a wealth of books.
Chevening scholarships are, very famous in India because every graduates, prefer to go and study 1 year masters in the UK and avail this scholarship, Chevening scholarship. Would you please tell us something more on the Chevening scholarship?
Yeah, we run them in something like 160 different countries around the world. It's very much part of our people-to-people diplomacy. We want to expose the brightest and best young minds from around the world to the United Kingdom, its culture, its politics, but it's a great place to do business, a great place to invest, a great place to visit, and a great place to study, and to make friends for life, and to help us to build bridges, not only with capitals, not only with governments, but with ordinary communities all around the country. And there is nothing better for me than if I want to have an informed conversation, as we're doing tonight, about the effect of climate change on the tea industry and agriculture in Guwahati, and think, we have got some people up there we can call, and they get a bigger group of people together with whom we can have an informed discussion. And that's so helpful to us in working out how we can tailor our offer to this city, to this state, in a way that really works for the state. And we always want to work with the grain, with people, rather than coming in assuming we know the answers, and we won't always know the answers.
Last 3 months as the British Deputy High Commissioner in Kolkata, what is your understanding about Assam and Northeast? What exactly do you think the UK government can, explore, the possibilities of collaboration with these 8 backward states of India?
Well, I'd be chary about using the word backward, which I think is a little bit judgmental. Let's say states which do not yet appear to have realised their enormous potential. I think there is enormous potential. I've had a very interesting conversation with a colleague from the World Bank in New Delhi, who's been working on the future of the Northeast economy over the last couple of years. And he had some really fascinating things to say. And it reminds me of 1 or 2 other places I've worked in my career. The potential's certainly there. So what economists call soft commodities, basically things you eat rather than things you melt down and smelt and make articles of. Fruit, spices, some of the highest quality that you will find not only anywhere in India, but anywhere on the planet. Things that should really be commanding a premium price on global markets. I said to my colleagues before we left the hotel, I think they saw my chin drop when I looked in the handicraft shop. Some fabulous products in there. And I wouldn't know where to go and find them if I was looking for them in London. So that would seem to indicate that there's another option there. I think tourism is underexploited. Now the World Bank will tell you that pretty much anywhere they go and do an evaluation, tourism is one of the first things to look at. It's a very powerful generator of employment, comparatively low inputs and quick and high outputs. I've been blown over by what I've seen. I have been to India before. I think I've been to something like 10 of the states, but having recently been to the Destination East exhibition in Kolkata that was looking at tourism in Northeast in India. A land of unimagined and unimaginable beauties. Now, I think you need to, I think one needs to sit back and look hard at how you take that forward, because It's never going to be Dubai. It's never going to be Phuket. No, I don't think you'd want it to be that. I don't think it's ever going to be a mass tourism destination. But the potential is absolutely enormous, whether it's people going to Kolkata to see Durga Puja, to see some cricket, to look at the heritage of the city. But it's tea in the north, it's mountains in the north, it's tigers in the south. I'm referring to the Sundarbans there, and indeed across the broader northeast. And I think there's also an opportunity, and it's not for me to dictate on this, but to improve connectivity with Bangladesh, with Bhutan, with Nepal, offer tourists a modular program. So you go to the website, I want to do that one, put together their own package, which we see increasingly happen in my country and other countries. I think that would be really a win-win outcome. And we will work with state governments, local governments, see if we can play a helpful role in making.
How well networked are you with the state governments and others in the Northeast?
Not as well as I need to be, is the answer to that, Onarban. So this is my first visit to Assam. I've previously been to Manipur, but only to Manipur. Sometimes it happens in smaller diplomatic missions that we have a hiatus in staffing, and I've been on my own. I've been on my own as a UK member of staff for the last 3.5 months. We've got the most brilliant team of Indian colleagues working with me. But that has made it difficult to get out and about as much as I would like to, because I think if people come to the British Deputy High Commission, they are entitled to expect to find a British diplomat there, and it doesn't look particularly good if you say he's gone away and he won't be back for a week. But our little staffing hiatus is going to be resolved this weekend, and it'll make it much easier for me and for my new colleague to get out and about. So these are the links that I want to build. I mean, clearly we're not starting from scratch. My Indian colleagues have already got tremendous knowledge of the region, wide range of contacts, put together a brilliant program for me here. But now I need to go and meet the movers and shakers themselves, build those relationships, make them load-bearing, to use the current parlance, so we can make good things happen.
Yeah, tell me something about British Council's role in East and specifically the Northeast. British Council has been working in Assam for last couple of years in training teachers. So I think now they have stopped. I think the project is over. So any new project of British Council in the Northeast, any big project?
Well, let me firstly explain to you viewers who may not know what the British Council is. The British Council is the cultural, educational and sporting arm of the British government. I look upon them and treat them as if they're part of the British government family in Kolkata. They are physically located in a different place. They have to be, because one or two of the services that they offer are chargeable. So, for example, the English language tuition, they charge for it, and a diplomatic mission is not allowed to charge its customers for anything. So that's why they're in a different building. The answer is, I don't know in great detail what they've got afoot. I know they've got a lot of exciting ideas. That they were disappointed that the Brahmaputra Literary Festival that we were all looking forward to, that was going to run from 8 to 11 February, has had to be postponed. We understand why that is, and we will hope to bring the group of British authors to the next iteration of that, whenever that is, hopefully a little bit later in the year. I do hope we don't lose it completely. We will work very closely with them, because a lot of the things we do in the British High Commission are relevant to them, and vice versa. And they're always keen for me to go along to their events. It's a dynamic programme, it has to be, because anything the British Council does, anything that we do, has to reflect local needs. It really doesn't work if we just pitch up and say, hello Assam, we're going to do this for you, and then Assam will say, we don't want you to do that for us. So this visit will enable me to see where there are unmet needs and how we can tailor our offer to meet those. But rest assured, you're going to be seeing a lot of the British Council in the weeks and months to come.
In research collaborations, what kind of RC UK was working in some projects here, and even UKRE projects were also on. So, any new projects of research collaboration, any big project in the Northeast?
Donovan, I'm really grateful for you giving me that opportunity, because my colleagues from United Kingdom Research and Innovation came to the Deputy High Commission last week, and we did the very successful launch of a new collaboration in West Bengal, which is going to look at issues around the environment and livelihoods in the Sundarbans. This is an ongoing process. I don't think I can overemphasize the quality, the quantity of collaborative projects, and not only in science and technology, or also the key word is research. So some of these are in the social sciences and other arts going on between the United Kingdom and India. There's a lot of money out there for this. We in the British government will fund the UK institutions taking part in this, many of which, the majority of which currently in the east and northeast of India are universities, but they don't have to be. If there are companies out there, publicly owned companies, privately owned companies, that are doing cutting edge research and would like a UK partner to collaborate with them on it, then we are very, very interested in doing that. So I do urge any academics, any research directors in private companies who are listening and to whom that is appealing, get in touch with us. We will put you in touch with the right people and try and make more things happening. A lot of it is around technology, and we're very pleased with that, because going back to the great global issues of our time, climate change, antimicrobial resistance, microplastics in water, have their origins in technology, which arguably humans have abused. A lot of the solutions are going to come from technology too.
Why I raise the issue of research, basically UK specializes in river management, river control, flood control, and in the Northeast, especially in the Brahmaputra Valley and Barak Valley, flood is quite a big issue. It's an annual problem. So, UK can definitely come and help or advise or extend technical support to the agencies here to control or mitigate flood in a big way.
Oliver, absolutely. Come and work with. I think work with is the right verb to do, to use. And we're very happy to receive approaches. And I want to thank you for that, because that's now something I can raise with interlocutors in this and future visits to see if
that can
an area
be
of work.
Very big help to the people of Assam specifically.
Yeah.
See, Government of India has been trying to implement something called the Act East policy. Initially it was Look East policy. Now, the nomenclature got changed to Act East policy. So, it is basically like Northeast is being or will be treated as the bridge between the South Asia and the Southeast Asian economy. So, you have worked in Bangladesh, you have worked in China, you understand South Asia's economy as well as Southeast Asian economy. So, where exactly do you think that the UK can fit into this Government of India's Act East policy, and how can UK help Northeast to prosper, or develop in this kind of a policy?
I think the first thing we have to say is we have to be invited in to help. It's not for us to come and say, look India, look Bangladesh, this is what you need to do, because that won't land well in either country. We look at South Asia and have done for some time, and see an area which, from our point of view, has not yet fulfilled its immense economic potential. Probably with the exception of sub-Saharan Africa, it is the least connected area within the region anywhere in the world. If I go back to the start of my diplomatic career, my first two substantive postings were in the southern cone of South America. It was hard to believe that 20 years before, Brazil and Argentina were effectively in a nuclear arms race. And the prospect of them both belonging to an economic bloc would have been unthinkable. The attitude would have been, well, look, we don't have complementary economies. We're actually rivals. We produce huge amounts of soft commodities. We're competing in overseas markets for them. You look now at how interconnected that is, and the prospect of a war between any of the countries of the Sun would be absolutely unthinkable. So it's yielded huge economic dividends, it's yielded huge political dividends, and a lot of people-to-people dividends. I have a Brazilian wife, I go there regularly, and I know how many people from the other South American countries live in Brazil, and vice versa. Is that unthinkable that could one day be the case in South Asia? If it could be, I think that would really be a global good. It really would be. But it's not for the United Kingdom to come in and say, this is what you need to do. Very happy to use our good offices. And what might that look like? I think making the argument for that to ordinary people can be quite difficult. Well, why should we do it? What would it look like? What would it mean? And it's one of the reasons why we've looked at tourism as being one of the, if you like, one of the low-hanging fruits on the tree. But possibly we can pick an area where Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal could work together for the mutual benefit of everyone, earning lots of tourist dollars, euros, pounds, yuan, whatever currency you like, and make people think we will achieve more by working together than we will by working separately. Your viewers may correct me if I'm wrong on this, so I'm absolutely new to the region, but when I was first posted in Brazil, the northeast of Brazil is a giant orchard. It produces fruits, particularly fruits, some vegetables, particularly fruits, at the very highest quality. They're superb. Sadly, well, some are, some aren't. Sadly, something like half those fruits were not in a fit state to eat by the time they've reached port for export. Why? Because lorries had to drive over 1,500 kilometres of road in terrible condition, full of potholes, fruit in the back of the truck being banged about, being bruised, being damaged. My conversation with my colleague from the World Bank hinted that there were some issues like that in northeast India too. And clearly this is where connectivity with Bangladesh to be able to get the produce to ports and out of the country as quickly as possible would be hugely beneficial to the northeast. And again, that strikes me as being win-win. And anything we can do to move that forward, I think would be good. Be good for British consumers.
Exactly. So, do you have any plans to come back to Assam for any specific reason in coming future?
Well, you've just told me I have to come at the beginning of April and see the tea.
Yes. And April, if you come, you can enjoy the Bihu festival also. That's the Assamese New Year. That's the most colorful festival of Northeast. So you can definitely come and enjoy Bihu as well as tea together.
When I've got this cracked, is when you say to me, "Oh, Nick, I noticed you were in town again last week." So trips like this must become the norm, not the exception. Now, as I've said, I've not been able to do that yet, but I want to come here regularly. I want my colleagues to come regularly. I want my Indian colleagues to come regularly. And I also want colleagues from other posts, particularly New Delhi, to be coming up here and to other states in the Northeast as much as we can. That's really important to me. In the same way as I hope Indian diplomats are travelling all around the United Kingdom.
So thank you very much, Mr. Nick
No, it's
Lowe.
been a
Thank
pleasure.
you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.